So we are discussing about the first topic, work process administration part. As part of this concept, we discussed about the each and every work process information we discussed, right? So what is meant by spool work process, what exactly, where it is useful. So printer, printing related, those things, the configuration, SPAD, administration configuration, checking the logs and all, SP0102, you can check it out, right? And gateway SMGW, right? So message server work will based upon the logon groups, SMLG, these things we discussed, right? Dialog, update, enqueue, background, right? So work process basic things we created. If you want to log into the system, definitely work process, dialog work process are required to process your request here, right? So as part of the same configuration, so we discussed about we will get the by default work process. From there, we will process the same here. We'll process the same here. So here, as part of the client administration part, so once done, client administration. What is mean by client administration? After the work process, the next administration part is the client administration. Here, client. What is client? First of all, here, what is client? So, client is the one of the one of the business entity, one of the business entity here. So, to process your business data, to save your business data, you need a one client in SAP system. Sir, already during the installation time, you will get the two clients here, 000, 001 clients, right? So you will get the two clients, 000 and 001 clients. So can't we save our business data in this case? No. Why? Because these are the master clients which contains the master data, only which contains the master client master data. So it's the reference clients only here. But you need to create other than these two clients, any client number you can create it here. Either 000 to 999, we have the client numbers. Any client number you can create it. We have to log into this client number, then you need to do the business related activities. We have to perform it here. So normally business means the functional team, mainly developers, they will write the code. Our configuration is technical configuration. So also we need to perform it in this clients only here, right? So as part of this one, client creation, we have to do it. As soon as system installation is done, then basic things are done. Client creation should be required. Why? Because so as soon as system is ready, client is done, then business will start using that system. Developers will start using that system for the developments. So, so that is the one, right? And also functional people will write the scenarios. All those things they will do it in this clients here. So as part of this configuration, client creation has to be done here. So what is the procedure to create the client here? So here using the SCC4 is the transaction code. Here we can create the client in SAP. We can create the client in SAP system here, right? So, but client creation, sir, we have the landscape, right? So client creation, there is a dependency. If you want to create the client, there is a dependency task. Dependency means you need to complete this task, then only you need to create the client here. The dependency task is here like a logical systems, creation using sale or BD54 transaction codes. Sale or BD54 transaction codes. We need to create the logical system. The naming convention of the logical system syntax is, right? So SID, CL, enter so client number here. Suppose your SID is the ECP, then ECP CLNT client number 100 is the ND4, then ND4 CLNT 200, 300. What is the number? So except these two clients, any clients you can create it, right? So that's why you are 100 client or 200 client, 300, 400, whatever, you can create it here. So that is the naming convention of the client here, right? SID, CLNT, client number. So that is the naming convention of the client here. That's client we have to create it here, right? So it should be unique. Logical system name should be unique. So why this is required for the client? So client is the business entity. So then in a landscape, we have the multiple systems, right? Suppose take example development, quality, and production systems, right? Also, in a one system, we can create the multiple clients, right? Suppose in one system, you can see, so the 000, 001, then 100 client, then 200 client, like that we have the so clients here, and like that we have the clients here, right? So that is the client here. So first let me finish it, later you can ask the questions. Okay, so why? Because I need to stop it, I need to concentrate on your chart and everything. So if you want to just, you can stop me, ask the questions. All right, so that is a good way to ask the questions. So if you type it, whether I need to others are typing, I am not sure. So sorry for that one. So so here, suppose in a system we have the 000, 001, 066 is not there no more in the as a default list here. That got deleted, that got removed from the system. It's not there. It's old systems we have the 066 nowadays, no client. Okay, so it's 100 client here, right? So suppose like you are creating a new client here. So what exactly the client contains? The client contains the business data, your business configuration, your business settings, all will be into the client. So each client there is a unique configuration. Each client there is a unique configuration here, standard unique. So why? Because 100 client, it will only store the 100 client data. So 001 only 001 client data. 100 so 200 client, 200 client only data here. So based upon the your logical system, suppose like so ND4 CLNT 000. So all the 000 client data will store in the form of, this is the logsys field in the table. Why? Because database is only one for all the SAP system, all the clients, all SAP clients, only one database here. So if you do the some entries creation 000 client, that is only one table. So here also ND4 CLNT 001, right? So that is called the ND4 CLNT 100 client here, right? Suppose these three entries, but table is only one, database is only one. If you are three clients data storing into the one table, if any duplicates, that will be create a inconsistency, right? That's why SAP introduced the logical system concept. So based on that, 000 client data will store in this field in same table, 000 client data, 001 client data, 100 client data. So each client we need a separate users, separate data will be stored to the only one table, but entries are different based upon the this logs field in the table. Your client data will be saved in the inside of the client here. So here Ravi user you create, here also you create the Ravi user, but both users are same. If you don't have this field, that will be a duplicate, right? That will be a duplicate entry in the table. But the both the fields are there here. See 000 and 001. Here you can create the Ravi entry. Here also you can create the Ravi entry. So in this way, logical system you can create it here. What is mean by logical system means, so to logical system to identify the client, to identify the client within the landscape or system, you need a logical system. Sometimes they may ask you what is mean by logical system. To identify the client within the landscape or system, you need a logical system here, right? So that is the reason. Here also you have the one more system, maybe one client, two clients. Here also same client, here also same client. Then how can we identify which client you need to send the data from, which is coming from outside? So based upon this logical system, your data insertion will happen at table level. Data insertion will happen at table level. Table level, the data will be inserted. So that is the reason we have the logical system field options are there. Is the reason we have the logical system fields SAP created. So before you create the client, logical systems are very important, right? So here, whenever you install the SAP system, you will get only two clients, 000 001. Someone explained maybe 066 client. What is mean by 066? It's there earlier, not now, nowadays, right? So you no need to remember about the 066 is the early watch client. It was not there now, just you can ignore that word. Okay. So, but we have only current two clients in the system 000 001, but we cannot do anything in these two clients. So you need to create the new client. Apart from that, these two clients, any number you can give it, you can utilize that number as a business client. You can store your business data and everything. But in a system, if you create 100 clients, then definitely there is a only one database, one table. So all the data will be stored into the same table only here. But there is no duplicates. Why? Because here the logical system field is differentiating. Here the logical system field is differentiating the entries creation here. That's why to identify the client within the landscape, we need a logical system. Okay, that is what the logical system we need. Client means to store the business data. Client is a business entity. To store the business data, you need a client. But client creation, first of all, logical system is important here. So how to create that logical systems here, right? You can log into the any user, not the any user, except the SAP star DDIC. You can use the basis user for client creation. Go to PD54. Why? Because before creating the client, logical system is very important here, right? Go to the BD54, sale or BD54, click on the new entry. You can create a entry like a SID, ND4, CLNT 400. You are trying to create the ND4 400 client you are creating. Name you can give anything, but this naming convention should must ensure it should be standard naming convention. We have to give it here, right? Then click on the save button, right? Click on the save button here. So then it will ask the transport request. You can save the entry here, right? So then go back. So you created the logical system here, right? So 400 client logical system you created. Previously it was created by the our guys, but this is for the logical system entry you created. Then logical system entry you created now, right? Logical system entry you created. In case of anything it is asking, so just create the transport request here. The next concept is ours is the transport request. Then you will come to know how to create the transport request as well here, right? Data was saved here in the system, right? So you done it. Logical system you creation is done. Now go to SCC4 is the transaction code for the client creation, right? Client creation has to be performed from SCC4 is the transaction code. Here in SCC4, click on the change mode, click on the new entry. So why? Because you need to create the new client here, right? So go to the client. Which client you are going to create? 400 client. Then 400. Then it's a dev 400 client. Something anything name you can give it. What is the city? It's a suppose I'm giving the Hyderabad India. What is the logical system here? So here, logical system name, we have to give it here. If you give different name, it won't take it out. So here, you need to browse it. So before the step, that's why client creation, the logical system field is very important here. That's why you created here, right? So what is the client? Same way, the logical system naming convention should be same here. That is the recommended approach from the SAP. It should be same logical system name. You have to create it here. Same logical system client we have to create in the system here, logical systems. Okay. So, okay, logical system name you have given here. So currency, what is the this client currency? Why? Because it's the Indian client, we will mention the INR. It's not the Indian client, we will give the different INR, different cities. Otherwise, if you don't know, just browse it here, you will see the number of currencies here, right? So Canadian dollar, Canada dollar, Europe, if it's the Europe client, Spanish, whatever the client, you can see, you can you can check it out here. That client related things you can check it out here, right? You can see. So it's the Europe, Euros. So there is a whatever the country, Hong Kong currency, the currency. Why? Because the business data, the business related payments, transactions will run based upon this currency only. So you need to use the currency also here, right? It's the Indian currency. Then we can use the INR, right? We have the defaulted here selected here. Then logical system field we have given, which we created as part of the dependency step. This we created here, right? This we created. So then these are the client settings here. Client settings here. This is the client specific settings here. Client specific setting means this applicable to the only this client, applicable to the only 400 client specific. So you want to open the client. If you open the client, which is like changes without automatic recording. Means if you choose this option, so we can do the changes, but there is no recording option here. Means there is no entry who changed it what. But if you do this recording, automatic recording of changes, then we can do the changes, but there is a automatic recording of changes here. So if you choose this button, then there are no changes are allowed. Means no user cannot do any changes in the systems here. Which means especially for the production systems, we should close the client specific settings and the cross client settings. We should close it here. If we close it, what will happen? User cannot perform any settings, any changes in the system. Why? Because the client is saved. The client is here. The client settings are closed. So that time there is no manual entry not possible. So via transport request only should come. So if you want to do the manual entry, we need to create the here. So normally changes are allowed. This is the client specific changes, means specific to the your client, specific to the this client only, specific to the this client. So cross client means it is applicable for the system wide settings, which means repository and cross client customization. Cross client means from other client to, you can also, if you open this one, other from other client to in this client, you can do the changes here, right? So that type of changes we can do it. So sometimes we will not allow that cross client also. Means you will log into the 100 client, 400 client data also, you can save it. You can change it. That is also possible. Because everything will be in the one table level, right? One SAP system. Some data is a client specific, some data is the cross client, which means so repository changes, those are the system wide changes. So in that case, other client to this client data also we can change it here. Other client to this client data also we can change it here, right? So that is the reason cross to these options we can use it. So in an organization, please ensure development only should be enabled. Changes should be enabled. Means client should be open. So quality and the production systems, your settings should be closed. No changes are allowed. No changes are allowed. We have to choose this option, right? And also here client role. So if this is production system, the settings should be no changes, no change. It's not the production. it is the demo or training, then it should be allowed. It should be allowed here, right? Click on the save button here. Clicking on the save button here. This is what we have to do it in the systems here. So sometimes some daily basis or sometimes we may get the request. Please open the client. At time we have to come to the here. Then if the no changes are allowed, you need to make to the changes are allowed. Changes are allowed. Then click on the save button. Then client is open. Then after that, then he will ask us to close it, especially for production systems. The settings are closed, especially for the production systems. The settings are closed status. The settings are closed status here. Automatic regarding of changes. Then, so this is the closed status here. So, but if it is the non-production, so make sure, this is a very important, guys. Because so development is for the doing the development activities, coding, writing, everything. So definitely system settings should be open. System settings should be open. So apart from the development, so quality and production system settings should be closed status. It should be closed. Okay. This one you need to tell if someone asks you during the interview point of time. What is your client settings in the development, especially in the production? Production, we will close the settings here. So why we have to should be closed settings? Why? Because the production number of business will log in and they will do the adjustments. So that is not directly applicable. It should come from the development only. So that is the reason we will close the client settings here. Client settings, we will close it. Then once you done it, we can open it here. We can open the client settings here. Then client role, with what type of system you are doing installation you are doing here, right? Is it a production system? No, ND4, right? If it is the ND4 means development. P means production. Like that, we have given the standard naming conventions. So it's a just development system. That case, we no need to do it. Just go to the production, right? So click on production entry or test entry. Just we can choose it, types of system, demo system, training system, customization, development system, to quality and production. It is not the production. Then customization, demo, training client, training system. Then it should be open. Then just click on the save button. Then your client is created now. See here, your client is created. The 400 client is created today. 400 client is created today itself only, right? Which means client creation is done. Right? 400 client, client creation is done now. So this is the way we need to create the client. This is the way we need to create the client. Then we need to assign the logical system to the client. That's what we have to do it in the systems here, right? Client creation and the logical system creation, we have to do it here. Sale or so sale also we can do it. Or this one we have to go to the some navigations, right? Logical systems. Then create the logical system. Some navigations we have to do it. Then we have to do it. Instead of that, directly you can use the BD54 transaction code. You can create the client here. You can create the logical system. Then you can just go to the SCC4, just create the client, assign the logical system. So that is what we have to do it in the system. That is what we have to do it in the systems here, right? So client creation, this one, I think long back someone already created. That's why you can see the clients here. All right. That's why you can see the clients here. Let me delete these clients. Oh, I deleted. So once delete the client, client deletion is the separate topic. I will tell you. Now you are in the 001 client, right? Now what you have to do? You need to go to the SCC4 change mode for creation of the client. Then go to the number of new entries. Just logical system ND4 400 client you are creating, or 100 client you are creating 100, or 400 or 400, whatever the client you are creating, you need to give the client number, city. It's like a Hyderabad. So logical system. Now you need to give the logical system here. So there is no client, there is no logical system name with the name of 100. So only 100 client. So other logical system you should not assign. Why? Because here there is a one client number, there is a one more client number here, which is not matching here. So right now again, that's why client creation, before that there is a logical system creation, we have to create it here. Now there is no logical system. Again, I am going to the one more screen. Then here I am creating the logical systems here. A logical system I am creating here. Like suppose ND4 CLNT 100 client. ND4 CLNT 100 client I am creating here. ND4 100. Right? Click on the save button here. Right? 100 client we created here. So now you can assign the logical system. So now you can assign the logical system here. Either you can browse it. It is there. It should be available here. 100 client. Now it is there. What is the currency? It is the INR, Indian currency. So then test system changes are allowed. Testing so are not allowed. Directly you can just close the changes. Then save it. Then see here, be careful when changing the logical system. It's very important. Logical system. Now data is already saved here. Data is saved here. This way we need to create the client. Client creation has to be done like this here. Right? So once you've done the client, sir, what we have to do here? Right? So once we done the client, what we have to do? Once that done, we need to log into the newly created client. Right? How to log into the newly created client? Why? Because there is no users in the newly created client. Why? Because only client creation has been done. If you want to log into the newly created client, suppose like 100 client, then how can you log in? Whether will the DDAC work? Right? So whether you have any other things works? No. Then how can we log in here? Right? To log in, why? Because you only created the client. If it is the new client, if it is the default client, if it is the master client, then you have the SAP star and DDIC. SAP star and DDIC users are there. If it is the already existing client, which come from as part of the installation. Now there is no that one. There is no client like a, there is new created new normally manually you created a user like SAP star DDIC, SAP star DDIC here. In that case, SAP star DDIC, in that case, how to log into the newly created client here, right? There is a procedure here for log into the newly created client. Okay, let me explain. So shall I explain or will you guys practice up to here? Client creation and logical system creation.
Please explain that things to log in.
Okay, so that is the thing like, so okay. For login to the newly created client. So how to log into the newly created client here? To log into the newly created client.
Is
Yeah,
it that changes the profile parameter?
yeah. That's what I'm going to explain now. So to log into the newly created client, we have to enable the, that's why it take very longer duration. We have to enable the SAP star user. That is called the emergency user. Emergency user we have to enable in SAP system by setting the parameters here. So now the subtopics will come like profiles and parameters. Profiles and parameters concept will come. Parameters concept. So, so what is means in the subtopic in the client administration only, you will get the profiles and parameters, RFC administration, You will get two new topics here in the client administration. So client creation is done, logical system is done. But we said like we should not log into the either 000 or 001. Then we need to log into the 100 client. In this case, how to log in then? What changes we required here? To log into the newly created client, so there is a one parameter we need to change. So in this way, we will get the one more topic is the parameter. What is mean by parameters here? Parameters means system configuration settings. Normally, default settings you will get. The default settings you will get, that one we have to change it. One parameter we have to change it here. What is mean by parameters? The parameters are system changes, configuration changes here. By default, you will get the default settings. Normally, when you purchase the new mobile, you will get the default ringtone, default settings, default theme, default sound volumes. All those things you will get the recommended sound values. You will get it out here. Recommended sound values, recommended sound values you will get here, right? So, but how to change this configure in case of my business use my business as per my organizational settings, I need to change it. Same way, as soon as you got the new mobile, how you are changing to your own themes, own settings, own ringtone, how you are changing. So maybe you will go to the mobile, there is settings option, there you will do the all the adjustments, customization, then you will restart, right? Similar way, in the SAP system also, we have to change it our own customization, custom settings. Then we have to go to the profiles and the parameters here. To go to this topic, to go to this profiles and everything, you need to go to the two transaction codes. One is the RZ10, RZ11 transaction code. RZ10, RZ11 is for the profile parameter changes. Here we have the two types of profiles are there. There are the two in SAP. We have the two types of profiles. One is the instance profile. Second one is the default profile. All instance specific related things. Instance means, again, in the instance specific we have, so one is called the, in the instance specific we have, so we have the ASCS instance profile, right? So then again one more instance like, so one more instance like here we have called the application server, either primary application server profile, the secondary additional application server profile. Those are the instances. All those comes under the instance specific profiles. So means instance means we have the three instances, one ASCS, one primary, one secondary application server, means additional application server, total three profiles. So we have the instance specific profiles and default profiles are available. Default profile with the name of default.pfl. Here there is the name of SID underscore ASCS underscore hostname.pfl. Like that, you have the instance specific profiles are available. In these profiles, the profile contains parameters. This profiles contains system parameters here. All the default related parameters like default settings, default client, default language, default database, all the defaults under the default parameters are under default profile. All the message server, NQ server parameters are in the, so in the ASCS. ASCS contains the message server, NQ server. Then application server specific parameters are in this parameters. So where to go and change it here, right? We have to go to the RZ10, select the profile and change the value, select the profile, change the respective parameter value, change the parameter value, then restart the system. Then only the value will be affected. The value will be affected here. Suppose if you go to the change to the, this is called the static parameter. This is called the static parameters. Okay. Are you guys are getting confused or following? You're okay, right? Okay. Maybe if you're getting confused, just to stop me, I can stop it. I can pause it here. Okay. Okay. So RZ10. Normally, any permanent changes, we have to do it in the RZ10 only. Why? Because this is a static parameters. So restart is required. If you change it here, restart is required, but it's are the permanent changes here. So RZ11 is the dynamic values, dynamic parameters. Dynamic parameters are here. Then no need restart, no need to do the restart. Then these are only temporary changes only. Until you restart, the changes will be gone. So until restart, the changes will be there in the dynamic. We have the two types of profiles, static profiles, static parameters, and dynamic parameters here. Static parameters means restart is required. Those are the permanent changes that we have to do it in the RZ10. RZ11 is the dynamic parameters. So we no need to restart it. It's a temporary changes. These three words you need to remember. Why? Because sometimes they may ask you, can you tell me the difference between the RG10 and RG11? So RG10 is the static, RZ11 is the dynamic. RZ10 is the permanent changes, RZ11 is the temporary changes. RZ10, if you change the parameter value in the RZ10, then you need to restart the system. RZ11, no need to restart the system. But not all the parameters are dynamic, not all the parameters. Then how can we identify which parameter is the static and dynamic? So here you need to go to the RZ10 transaction code. RZ10 transaction code, there we have to do the changes here. If you go to the RZ10, you can select the profile, which profile you want to select, the default profile or instance profile or anything. Just you can select the any one of the profile. So these all are the administration settings related. So with this one, we need to select it, the extended maintenance, go to the change option here. So here you need to do the changes here. These all are the parameters. How many dialog work pros are there? We have the 8. We don't require 8. 4 is enough. So how many BTC? So we required 4, not required 3. So like that, if you want to increase the work process, here is the parameter values. Here we need to change the values here. Here we need to change the configuration like this. If you want to change the buffers. If you want to change the MQ, you can change it here. So like that, we can change the values of the parameters in this case here. Here we can change the values here, right? So once you've done it, then click on the change button. And then go back, save, save, activate. Then go back, activate the profile. Then person activate, saved and activated. So then if you click on OK button, here it says that to affecting the activating the profile, then you need to restart the application server. You have to restart the application server here. But what we have done it here in the SM50, we have the 8 BTC 8 background jobs are 8 dialog work process are there, right? SM50. SM50 here we have the 8 are there here. So we have the 2 application servers, right? In that one application server, we have the 05 application server. We have the 8 dialogues, we change it to the 4, and here 3, we change it to the 3. We decreased it, we decreased it here. Tomorrow, if there is a huge load on the system, so there is the assigned dialogue work process are not enough to handle the request. If you want to increase, you need to come to this place and we have to do the restart, right? Then only the value will be affected here. The same time, suppose example, let me show you. So if you are restarting means definitely you need to do you are restarting. That is called the static parameters. You can see it here, ND4. You have the 2 app servers are up here. So here you have the dialog work process table. If you go to the here, See here, we have 8 dialogues. If you do the restart, what will happen? It will come to the 4 dialogues. Why? Because you changed the parameter value. So settings, you changed it. So let me do the restart now. Now see, after the restart, the value will be affected, which means this is the static, right? So you are doing the restart means it's a temporary settings. So it's the permanent settings here. So RZ10 you are changing. Same as like RZ11 also you are changing. RZ11 also I will show. Some parameters are RZ11. Some parameters are in the RZ10 here. So identify? How to identify here? Like which is the static, which is the permanent, which is the dynamic here. So I will tell you. But yeah, the parameter change you required, you need to know, you need to change it here. All right. Here you can see here it is down. SAP systems are down here. Why? Because you are restarted the system. It's down. Why? Because normally this restarts we cannot do during the business time, during the business time here. Only either you can do the only specific instance you can restart it, or entire system also you can do the restarts. So normally during the out of the business hours, we have to do this restarts. Why? Because if you do the restart, all users will get logged out from the system, right? So that's why this is one of the maintenance activity which we have to plan in the weekends only here. Weekends only here. The same time, so any parameter value, any configuration changes we have to do via profiles and parameters, right? The same time here, so there is a concept called at the same time to activate the emergency user also after the client creation, if you want to log into the SAP star with pass is the password. Normally, any newly created client, we can log in with the SAP star with the pass is the password. So that is the standard from SAP, emergency user and password. So to enable to get this functionality, you have the one parameter login slash no underscore automatic underscore. So user underscore SAP star equals to 0R1. We need to keep it. Then restart the system. Then you can log into the newly created client. You can log into the newly created client. Right? That one, we can do that one. That one, we can do that one. For that one, what we have to do, so we need to, we have to log into the SAP system, open the SAP system. To enable this parameter, we have discussed about the profiles and parameter concept. Why? Because we have to enable this parameter in the RZ10, RZ11. If I tell, you will get confused. That's why profiles and parameters means system level, any changes, either you want to increase the work process, if you want to decrease the work process, if you want to do something about the work process, systems, buffers, values, any settings, if you want to change it, so you have to go to the RZ10 respective parameter value. You need to change it either the higher level or different value. You need to do the restart. So changes we will perform, restart we will do it in the weekends. So during the business hours, it's not possible here. This is a compulsory, definitely the instance specific thing, only instance we can do it, right? So here you can see I'm logging into the system, either 0000001 client. So then here, so you have the user, you can log in. Now you cannot log into the newly created client also here because we are not changed the value. Only work process related thing we have changed it here. Work process related things we have changed it in the systems here, right? We changed it to the dialog work process to 4. We got it, right? Background work process to 3. We changed it, right? It came here. The same time, can go to the RZ10, select the instance profile, instance specified. So see here we have the profiles. So here default profile and instance profile. You have how many instances? You have the 100 instances. Then each instance related profile. Instance means additional application, additional instances. By default, you will get the one default instance, ASCS instance, application server instances here, right? Two instances you will get, right? One is the ASCS, second one is the application. ASCS contains the message server and queue server related settings. Application servers are the so this some application specific settings here. Here 4.3 you changed it. At the same time, if you don't find the parameter anything here, just you can just click on the create option. Just go to the browse option. You will see the hundreds of thousands of parameters you will get here. Thousands of parameters you will see it from here. Which parameter value you want to change it? Sir, I don't remember, but I remember only one word that is called the login slash only I remember. I don't know login slash automatic underscore SAP star. Just you can search it out. You will get the parameter value here, right? So suppose ours is the this one, right? It's the automatic login of the user. This parameter we need to change it. It's a 0. We need to change it to the 1, right? So just click on the OK. Go back, copy. Then 2 times you need to copy, save, activate, right? Just activate the profile. So activate and save. Just click on the OK button. You have to restart the application server here, right? Now you have done it. Now you need to restart it. Then you can log into the newly created. After the restart, what will happen? We can log into the newly created client here. Either newly created means suppose 100 client we created, and then 100 client. So SAP star, then pass, right? We can log into this client here. So normally it should be 0, not the 1. It should be 0 here. But it's already changed. So we disabled it actually as part of our configuration. We have disabled this configuration here. If we go to the here, select the profile. Normally this should be 0, which means it is enabled. 0 means enabled status here. So then when you restart it, we can log in. If you want to disable this parameter, you need to make it to the true or false, means 0 or 1. Either you need to change it to the 1. So like this, we need to change the value. Now saved it, right? So now you can see it here. Here you are able to log into the SAP star with the password here. But it's 100 client, none of the users are there. Then how you logged into the system? So you changed the profile parameter value, you saved it. The profile, the parameter value, you saved it. That's why you are able to log into the system. You are able to log into the system. So what is the parameters which is reliable? This is the parameter here. What are the work process related parameters? These are rdisplash, WP underscore NO underscore data, NO BTC, VB. So these are the things here, right? These are the work process related information, right? These are the parameters and profiles and parameters here. So if it is that we go to the RZ11, so some parameters are static. Suppose if you go this one, work process number parameter, display here, it will show there is a change value. If you show the change value, then that is the value. You can change it from here itself. But it's not the change value is not enabled. It's not the dynamic switchable. Means there is no change value here. This is only display value here is there. So some parameters, you can see it here. Suppose SIM mode. Some parameters are the change mode, change value is enabled. Means here directly you can do the changes here. Directly we can do the changes. Then this is the dynamic parameter. Dynamic parameters here. But it will be lost after the restart. So it's temporary only. This is the temporary parameters only here. So RZ11, whatever you are changing, those are the temporary parameters only, not the permanent parameters. But here you can immediately you can change it. The value will be affected here. But the static parameter, you no need to do the changes here. Static parameters, you no need to do the any changes. Automatically, that will be reflected. Automatically, that will be reflected here. Automatically, that will be reflected here. Okay, that is the dynamic, static parameter and dynamic parameters. So in the same concept, to log into the newly created client, you need to change the parameter value is called the login slash no underscore user SAP star. We click on this button. By default, it is the 1 or 0. It's a 1. Means it's a disabled status. If you make it to the 0, then what will happen? So we can log into the SAP star with the pass any client. Any client, if you create it, so then we can log into the any client with this value. Okay. This is about the kernels, sorry, parameters, how to log into the newly created client. And this is the concept here. Got it? So what you have to do first, try to, so try to do the client creation and logical systems. Once you perfect, then try to log into the newly created client. If you are unable to log in, or try to do the some parameter changes here. Go to RJ10. I will give you the some parameter. Then check the default profile or yes, default profile is the default parameter settings. So only instance settings you can select it. Go to the change mode. We can do the changes here. Whatever changes you want to perform, you can do the changes here. If you are seeing, we are unable to see it, go to the create the parameter, browse it, then you will see the lots here, lot of parameters, whatever you want to change it here. All those things are available here, right? So then you can set it out, you can change the value of your value, then you need to save it, activate it, and restart it. The value will be effective. That's what you have to do. Okay. So just to try with, I think that's why I asked you if you are guys getting confused, but no problem. Tomorrow also I will explain it again. Once again, parameter concept important. But try with the today logical system creations